Welcome to AMS Eds. It's so good to be back again. Thank you all so much for your good response and support. Today's session is a continuation of the study of alluvial soil, and this is part 2B. Instead of jumping directly into the lesson, we shall do something first, an activity. I suggest that you take a look at the soil in your yard. Oops, I forgot. Maybe you are living in a flat. Doesn't matter. Then you may have flower pots around, or maybe your neighbor. In case this is not possible, at least check out the grains, flour, or cereals in your own kitchen. Anyway, just take a look at the soil that's available at your place. The soil in the backyard will be different in texture or color from that in your front yard, the roadside, or the one in the flower pot. By texture, what I mean is how you are able to feel something by hand, that is, by touching it or by its appearance, just as you would check the feel of the clothing or dress at a textile shop. If you can just try to remember, you might find that the soil in your school premises may be different from or even same as the one in front of you now. Please try to pick up a little of that soil and rub it between your fingers or palm to get the feel of it. This feeling of the grains of soil is what you call as texture. Don't forget to wash your hands clean with soap and water. Activity done? Okay, back to class. Today's session will be on the characteristics or the main features of alluvial soil first. Then we will go through a classification of this soil based on its fertility, and finally find out the crops for which this soil is suitable for growth. So, first to the characteristics of alluvial soil. When we discuss the characteristics or features of any type of soil, we can get to know more about it on the basis of its soil profile. I'm sure that you remember this term. I'll explain. Here, soil profile refers to the physical properties of color and texture and the chemical properties based on the minerals found in that soil, its advantages and disadvantages based on how it supports cultivation, and so on. Learning this way will be very useful from the ICSE exam point of view. Now, we are going to start off with the characteristics of the alluvial soil based on the physical properties. Alluvial soil is of a faint yellow, light brown, or grey color. In the Deccan coastal strip, it has a darker color because the alluvium gets mixed with the black soil there. Its texture varies greatly from coarse to fine, that is, bigger grains to very small particles. Now you know why we did that activity in the beginning. Something interesting about this transported soil, alluvial soil, is that it is found as bigger or coarser grains in the beginning of its origin, in the upper regions of the river, and is further broken down as the river progresses to its lower course. We discussed this in the previous session. Then, the soil particles become smaller and finer. Thus, we can say that this soil is porous, sandy, clayey, and moist. Wherever it is clayey, it has the ability to retain moisture. It is found at a depth of 500 meters. Another point to mention is that this soil has its advantages. It is easily tillable, that is, it can be plowed easily as it is light and porous. Next, we will make a study of the characteristics of alluvial soil based on the chemical properties. We find that it is rich in potash and lime. The advantage is that these minerals make alluvial soil very fertile. But on the other hand, it is deficient or has very little amounts of nitrogen, phosphorus, and humus. This is very disadvantageous because these minerals are necessary to make soil fertile, and you already know the role played by humus in the fertility of soil. Only in the deltaic region of Ganga do we find humus in alluvial soil. Now, you have become very familiar with the characteristics of alluvial soil based on its soil profile or its physical and chemical properties. I hope you have understood up till here, as we are going on to the second part of this class. Let's start with the second classification of alluvial soil based on the age or level of fertility of this soil, as mentioned earlier. Each year, the monsoon floods lay new deposits of alluvial soil wherever it flows. That means the flood soils laid on river banks many years ago are piled up high to form river terraces and very old, while the flood soils brought down recently will be found in the river plains and be young or fresh. Accordingly, its fertility also differs. So, based on the age or level of fertility of the soil, we can differentiate alluvial soil into the Bangar and Kadar types. Bangar is older alluvium found about 30 meters above sea level in river terraces. It is light grey in color and mostly made up of calcareous clay. It is less fertile. Crops can be grown on old Bangar soils by adding manure. Kadar is newer alluvium found in the deltas and in the lower beds of the plain through which the river meanders. It is non-porous, clayey, and loamy. It is more fertile than Bangar as it is replenished by floods. That is, new layers of alluvial soil are deposited year after year during monsoon floods. This soil contributes the largest share to the agricultural wealth of India, so it is very important. Next, we are moving on to find out the crops that can be grown in this soil. It is suitable to cultivate a large number of rabi and kharif crops like rice, wheat, sugarcane, cotton, and oilseeds. I had mentioned earlier that humus is present in the deltaic region of Ganga. So, the alluvial soil in this region, that is, the lower Ganga Brahmaputra valley, is most suitable for the cultivation of jute as it needs very fertile soil and plenty of water. Finally, we have come to the end of our detailed study of the transported soil or ex situ soil, the alluvial soil. Quickly, we'll try to recall the portion that you learnt up till here. I think that we should wind up for today so that we can start off with the next type of soil in the next session. You might have noticed that the alluvial soil was a lengthy portion. That's why I sectioned it off to help you out. Don't forget to check out the definitions and meanings of the terms used here and also the brush up. I suggest that you should revise the first 2 sessions before the next one. Revision empowers a student. Bye for now. Meet you in the next session.